Like your first choice. That's
Oh, that would be a dream come true.
Well, who
Bonnie,
knows?
if you're watching this,
yeah.
call me.
Well, Joey Landreth, welcome. Good to have you here at Kauffmann's Guitar Store.
So good to be here.
We got some questions before the people will walk in and see you and hear you play.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I find intriguing when I hear your songs and your guitar playing is that your vocal and your guitar seem to be from a different planet.
Back in the driver's seat again. Back in the driver's seat again. In the church now, I've been thinking, I've been listening for my heart. In the parish.
So I was wondering, as a guitarist, you take your phrasing from some other instrument or some inspiration, but how do you do that with your vocal? How do you come up with the phrasing and the way you sing?
I mean, just like anything, I don't think it's super conscious, but I mean, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, as we all are. So, you know, and I've treated my voice very similar to the way that I treat my guitar playing, in that, you know, I've studied a lot of other singers, and I think being a guitar player first was a benefit, because we have that ingrained in us to learn other people's lines and learn other people's licks and solos and parts. And so, you know, when I heard somebody sing something that I really liked, I tried my best to learn how to do it. And in that process, you know, I mean, some of my favorite singers are you know, come from the great black music tradition of gospel and blues and jazz, and there are certain things that, you know, I think become a part of you as a musician because you grow up in a place. And obviously a lot of the music that I love and have borrowed from, those times are gone. And so, but in the process of trying to get the sound of something, then you find your own thing. And so I think if there's anything unique about my phrasing, I think it's a mishmash of all my favorite singers. And a lot of my favorite singers are also my favorite guitar players: Bonnie Raitt, Ry Cooder, Lowell George, you know, from Little Feat. So there's a lot of that in there too.
The quiet behind a slamming door, the break of a heart that won't break no more. Get away with in a straight line, serenade of a mate of mine.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a household that loved music, and so music was always playing, and it was always playing loud, you know. And I remember when my wife and I first started dating, and like particularly we would listen to music during dinner, and you know, I would go to put on a record, and it was so loud that we couldn't talk. So she's like, "Can you turn it down?" I'm like, why? You know. So I mean, it was just music was just everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving to gear a little bit, in what way does gear influence your creativity? Does it? Or
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love, like, what I love about, you know, playing a different guitar or trying a different pedal or a different amp is, you know, there's certain things about your musicianship or your artistry that can't change. It's like the part that is innately you, that doesn't change, but you plug into something different and it makes you respond. And so I get a lot of inspiration from gear, to the point where, you know, I'll build a pedal board for a tour, but I'll bring extras of things just in case, you know, a handful of shows into the tour, if I'm not feeling fired up by a sound, I can swap something out and try something. Or if I'm finding myself, you know, a lot of times we play the same set list night after night, and so, you know, we get settled into a routine that feels really, really good, but then you get a little too settled, and then all of a sudden I find myself going, I wonder when I'm going to get my laundry done, you know, because our next day off isn't until, and I should probably find some, and, you know, and so that's not what I'm supposed to be doing, you know. So having something different on the pedal board to keep me engaged is also, I use it as a tool that way to sort of keep things fresh. And it's not something necessarily that an audience member, if they'd been to a show or two on the tour, they're not going to go, hey, that's way different. But it's just going to feel different to me, and it's going to keep me
focused, on the job.
So that's how I like to use gear.
Isn't that the signature of any great guitarist, that no matter what gear they have, they always sound like, in your case, like Joey Landreth? I mean,
I suppose so. I mean, I would argue that everybody has their own sound and not necessarily the confidence to step into it. And I think that's the big difference between where I am now as a musician to where I was when I first started. And I'm not like an egomaniac, at least I don't think so. I don't think I'm an egomaniac, but there are things about my playing that I would love to change, but I also know that they are just a part of who I am.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, I had a bit of a thought experiment of, instead of trying to hide all of my influences to try and sound original, I wonder what happens if I just lean into them harder and try harder to sound like my favorite guitar players, and listen to more Ry Cooder and see what happens then. And I think what has happened is that I sound more and more like myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm never going to sound like Ry Cooder, but if I try to, I'll have my own take on it.
Yeah.
I think that unique sound that you're talking about is just the stew pot of all your favorite musicians.
Yeah.
For me, it's a lot of slide guitar players, and it's certain singers, and it's certain jazz. I also really love John Coltrane and Cannonball Adderley. It's a lot of saxophone players. Of course, I don't really sound like them, but little bits of them are going to seep into your playing, whether you try to or not. And those are the little things that if you mix John Coltrane with a Bonnie Raitt lick, it's going to sound new,
Yeah.
So again, I'm not trying to say that I sound like Coltrane. I don't, but I love his music. So
Okay. Talking about slide guitar, do you set your guitars up for slide or for regular playing? I mean, and how do you go in between?
I kind of set them up as a bit of a hybrid. So this is a new guitar I picked up at the Summit. I asked Duesenberg to make me a guitar that I could play in open E. Because for the last probably 10 or maybe even more years, I've been playing in some drop tunings. I'm playing in low tunings, and I'm starting to move away from always being in that tuning, and I've been really enjoying playing. And honestly, I just miss the high notes, like the really big. Anyway, they brought this guitar, and it's just got 11 to 50s, which I think is their standard.
Yeah.
Which is quite light for what I normally for a slide guitar. But so I think the action is a little bit higher than what your average player would say is good, but it's not like miles off the fretboard. I can still play fretted and play relatively fast fretted licks and stuff like that. But not that I'm a great shredder by any stretch. But so it's kind of a hybrid setup and that's where I've used heavier strings to be able to get the action down a little bit lower, so that I can dig in a little more with the slide. So with these, because they're 11 to 50s, I have the action a little higher than I normally would, just to counteract the lightness of the strings.
Okay.
But for an example, for a good slide setup for me would probably be 13s. 13 to 58, 56 or 58.
Yeah. Even if you play in the C tuning.
In the C tuning, it'd be much heavier. Yeah. So on my C guitar, the high E string is a 19 gauge string.
Okay.
And then actually I've been going a little lighter on the bottom, so they're like 58, between 58 and 60. Yeah. So they're still pretty heavy, but and a 19 sounds crazy, but when you tune it down 2 full steps, it's still heavy, but it's not like
it's not unworkable.
No.
This guitar, I had borrowed a standard Duesenberg Paloma for a part of a tour, and I really, really liked it. And I've toured mainly with a gold top Les Paul style guitar for the last handful of years, and I love it, and it's one of my favorites. But there's so many sounds that it doesn't get, and so I wanted a guitar that would do all the sounds the Les Paul didn't do. So my brother and I have been good friends with the Duesenberg folks, and he had a couple ideas for a bass that he wanted to make. So I said, hey, would you do like a Joey and Dave Artist Alliance thing? And miraculously they were open to it. So the whole sort of premise behind this guitar is it's like all of my slide heroes in one instrument. So the neck pickup is inspired by Ry Cooder. It's a gold foil. The middle pickup is my Bonnie Raitt. It's just a very sweetly wound Strat pickup, Alnico 2 magnets. And then the bridge pickup is my Lowell George. And it's their dual king humbuckers, but half of it is a Telecaster pickup, so which is what Lowell George did with his Strats. So he had a Tele pickup, and then a couple of switches that allow you to reconfigure the pickups in fun ways. So it has a standard 3-way pickup selector, so neck, bridge, or neck and bridge. But then with the bottom switch, in any one of those positions, you can bring in the middle pickup, so you can get bridge and middle, neck and middle, or even all three, which is a pretty cool sound. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. And this one is green. But the normal ones are pink, and I think we're going to do the green ones next year.
How about your amp? Because these amps, circuit-wise, are very, very similar. They have the same power section, they have the same preamp section. It's really just some changes to the tone stack.
Yeah, we just tighten up the bottom end a little bit, push the mids forward, and sort of the top end sparks a little more. But. So that's no switches, bright switch. Boost.
Totally different subject. If you were to, you're forced to pick another guitarist to take on tour, or the other way around.
Yeah.
Somebody who would take you on tour.
Okay.
Who would you go with, and why?
I mean, take another guitarist on tour would be hard. Because I mean, it's a hard question. I would go on the road with Bonnie Raitt in a heartbeat. If she called, I would be there. And so I don't know, John Mayer. I would tour with John Mayer, but he'll never call me. He doesn't need what I got. But I would tour with him. I know there's other ones, but I can't think of any right now.
I like your first choice. That's
Oh, that would be a dream come true. That'd be a dream come true.
Well,
Bonnie, if you're watching this, call me.
Okay, one last question. What makes you decide when you're at home, you want to play guitar? When do you pick up an acoustic? When do you pick up an electric? What is the deciding factor in that?
Just mood, I think. You know, I like to have. I normally my studio's under renovation right now, so we're doing a bunch of work to it. But I normally have a recording studio that I work out of, so I usually have my electric sort of rig is set up always ready to go. So I like to have as few barriers. So my pedal board a pedal board is set up, an amp is ready to go. All I have to do is turn them on. But often, you know, at home I don't even have an electric guitar.
Yeah.
It's just I find I don't play as much guitar at home. Again, I have 2 small kids, so you know I'm doing a lot of playing with dolls.
Yeah, you do a lot of daddying.
I'm doing a lot of daddying. Yeah, I have 2 little girls, so I'm painting nails. I'm braiding hair. I'm stopping fights. Yeah. So at home I have an acoustic. I play a lot of acoustic at home. But normally, like in a creative setting, it's just mood.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm feeling at the time. Yeah.
So if you're writing song, it's not you always start on the acoustic, or
No, I don't really have any rules like that. But I do start most of my songs on acoustic. But I've started many on the electric. So it's not. I think it's just a sort of a crime of opportunity. Yeah.
When you write, do you write like, okay, I'm starting a song and hours later it's finished, or is it something that you work over a longer period of time, or months even, or?
I work over a longer period of time, although, I mean, recently I've written quite a number of songs in shorter sessions, but historically it's taken me a long time to finish songs. And I find songwriting to be the most difficult of my sort of vocations. You know, if somebody calls me and says I need a guitar solo, I could do that all day long. I never run out of ideas. Or, you know, I need an acoustic part, same thing. I feel like I have the well is deep for those instruments, but if somebody said, write me a song about this, take me a long time.
Is it the lyrics, or is it the music that is
The
holding
lyrics,
you up?
the lyrics, the storytelling part is the part that feels most foreign. It's the part that I think is oftentimes the most gratifying. But music feels more like a language that I'm fluent in.
Yeah.
Whereas storytelling, although at this point I've been doing it long enough that it should feel that way, but I've been playing an instrument since I was really little, so it just feels very natural.
Yeah.
But yeah, and not everybody struggles with those things, but that's one thing that I do struggle with.
When you write, do you write together with your brother?
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we don't write together, we finish songs together. Yeah. So oftentimes he'll bring something half finished, or I'll bring something half finished. And we've been writing a lot with our drummer, Roman Clark, as well. So we're all bringing ideas to the table quite frequently and finishing them together. But it's a little more rare for us to start something together from the very beginning. Yeah. But it's not unheard of. But it's usually, hey, I got this thing. I wonder if you guys like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think something that connects with people about our music is whether you think the songs are good or not, which a lot of people don't like the songs, they're genuine, and that's really important to us. Like, the stories mean something to us, which allows us to stand up on stage and deliver them. Yeah. And so I think that's something that's really, really important to us. And so if we finish something that feels like it's not in line with our sort of creative or personal values, then
You don't do it.
no.
Yeah. I'm going to thank you, Joey. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Such a pleasure.
Hope for a great show tonight.
We'll do our best.
I'm sure you will. Thank you. Joey and Derek.
Quiet behind a slamming door, the break of a heart that won't break no more. Get away with in a straight line, serenade.